Hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, and today we're looking at the readings for the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. You know, not too long ago, I was listening to a radio show, and I was listening to a man talk about financial debt. And he said that the goal was to become free of financial debt, to owe no man anything. And I like that idea, and I applaud people who get themselves out of credit card debt, pay off their homes, and pay off their cars. And it must be a really good feeling to be completely out of debt and owe no man anything. But Paul tells us in the readings this week that we actually owe others something. And we, as Christians, will never get to the point where we owe nobody anything. We owe people something, and that is our love. Listen to what he says in Romans chapter 13, verses 8 and on. Owe no one anything. That's the debt-free part. Except, he says, one thing, to love one another. For he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandments are summed up in this sentence: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. We can become debt-free. And we can owe banks nothing. We can owe lenders nothing, which is a good thing. But we will always owe one another something, which is love. And when we talk about loving one another, we're talking about putting the other person first in their eternal life and making sure that we do everything we can as a friend to help them obey the Lord and get to heaven. And so it's important to realize that when you go to work, every person that you meet, keep in the back of your mind, I owe them something. I owe them love. I know I owe them the respect. I owe them the same kind of relationship that Jesus would have with them, and that is one of pouring myself out for their eternal good. Now, in the gospel reading for this week, Jesus actually kind of puts this into practice because some people we don't feel like loving. Some people actually bother us a little bit. Matthew chapter 18, 15 through 20 says, if your brother sins against you. Now, all of us have experienced that, right? Maybe it was an email. Maybe it was something somebody said at the office. Maybe it was at Thanksgiving and it was your sister or brother-in-law who made a comment that really bothered you. Well, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. Now the reading goes on, says, but if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. The first point there is that if somebody has sinned against you, it's a good idea for you to go to them and talk to them about it rather than burying it in your heart. Now remember that ultimately you owe them love, which may mean that you're going to forgive them, you're going to release them, and you're going to take that pain and you're going to take that suffering and you're going to join it with the cross of Christ and do something positive with it. Now, there are cases where you might want to take it to the church and you might want to talk to your pastor and get some counsel about this. If this person refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be as to you a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly, I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again, I say to you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done by them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Now, the good news is that if you have difficulty with anyone, the Lord is with you and the Lord will help you. But I want to remind you this week, and maybe you're going to encounter this at the office or with the family, that you owe one another the love in the same love in which the Lord loves you. And that is an inexhaustible love, and it's putting others first.